comes in today, allows 0 earned runs, and ends up .03 earned run average points ahead of Chris Sale for the earned run average title. And I think that actually gave it to him, not to mention 248 strikeouts and a .92 whip. Another great year from King Felix. I actually think that you should also pay attention to Corey Kluber, who's been so great this year, pitching for a Cleveland team that really was never in contention. 2.4 for earned run average, 1.09 whip, 269 strikeouts. Terrific year from Kluber as well. But for King Felix, it's another Cy Young in the bag as he continues what has been a stellar career. Unfortunately for Felix Hernandez, once again, Seattle falls short and he still won't be in the playoffs.
Personally, I'm going to disagree with you there with the AL. I really think Jared Weaver is well-deserving. I mean, this is a guy, although his ERA is a little bit higher, 18 wins on the season, led his team to win the American League, was the ace for this guy throughout the season. You would have thought maybe C.J. Wilson would have been the guy, but no, Jared Weaver kind of came back. This is a guy who's 31 years old. He's been with the Angels for 8 years, but outstanding numbers for him, and really you could call him the leader of this Angels team behind Mike Trout, the secondary guy, the guy that's behind it all in the pitching staff. Got to go with him, but again, got to give a shout-out to Felix. He could definitely win it. Not as many wins for him because although Seattle did really good, he's never up there in the wins column. But Corey Kluber from Cleveland, again, another great season by him, 18-9, same record as Jared Weaver, a little bit lower ERA, but it's going to be tight, and I'll be interested to see who actually ends up winning that race.
Well, predictions there from Blake, and we go now to the last award for right now, and that will be the AL and NL Rookie of the Year. And Blake, we'll start with you.
Kind of throwing me under a bus here, Noah. Not as sure on this one. Right now, if I were to look at it from the outside, you got to look at all the different elements behind who should be the Rookie of the Year. In the NL, there's been some great rookies that have been able to compete, and I really think Anthony Rendon of the Nationals, he is, actually he's played for 1 year. I was wrong on that one. Outstanding numbers for Anthony Rendon. I did not know he's a rookie. Noah, why don't you give me your list right now while I'm pulling up my script on that one.
Okay, well, when it comes to a rookie in the AL, there is no better choice than Jose Abreu. And this is finally something to cheer about with the White Sox. Thank God. One of the best rookie years we've seen, a .317 batting average. He also had 107 RBIs and 36 home runs. What a season for Jose Abreu. The guy coming from Cuba, lots of questions about whether or not he could hit, but he has blown this league away. At points, he led the league in both RBIs and home runs and still stayed up there at the end of the year. What a year from Jose Abreu. But when it comes to the NL, it's a lot harder for me. You can look at a guy like Billy Hamilton, who had a pretty solid year this year, but it's really hard to say who deserves it most. I would probably look at a guy like Billy. You know what? No, I'm going to go with Billy Hamilton. The NL really underwhelming this year. When it comes to the AL, you had your Yordano Ventura, Masahiro Tanaka, of course, got injured, and Jose Abreu, one of the better rookie classes. And then in the NL, it was just a little underwhelming in terms of rookies. If you flash back to a couple of years ago, or was it last year when Will Myers got the AL MVP, it kind of was the same sentiment towards the AL class. So this year, I got to go with Billy Hamilton in a really underwhelming NL rookie class. Blake, excuse me.
I'm Blake. Okay, yeah. Totally forgot about Jose Abreu. Maybe that's because he plays in the White Sox. Sorry about that, Noah. The guy's got to win the AL Rookie of the Year. He just emerged from Cuba. Kind of same backstory as Yasiel Puig. Outstanding numbers. We definitely found a guy who's going to be one of those top brand names in Major League Baseball for the next few seasons. 317 average, 107 RBIs and 36 home runs. I mean, the guy was on par to be an AL MVP, if not for Mike Trout. Great season by him. He's got to win the AL Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. In NL, like you said, very, very tough to determine it. I got to go with a pitcher. And although his numbers aren't totally like outstanding ERA-wise, but he actually did very well on a team that finished with the worst record in Major League Baseball. Chase Anderson. The guy went 9-7 with, I believe it was, where am I? Okay, ERA, not finding it right now. Whatever. The guy went 9-7 on a Diamondbacks team that had absolutely nobody throughout the season. Oh, his earned run average was 4. So, not too bad. Not too shabby. This guy could emerge as a star and maybe be the guy who gets it turned around in Arizona, because there's not much bright light going through the tunnel in Phoenix right now. So, got to go with him as NL Rookie of the Year.
Okay, so now we're going to go over to the playoff picture and make some quick picks and not too much analysis going into this. And we will start with the wild card games. We will, of course, have the A's against the Royals. At one point, the A's looked like the runaway, but they managed to make it. The Royals, like I said, made it to the playoffs as well. I'm happy about that pick right there. And then in the NL, we will have, I believe, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the San Francisco Giants. And then the winner of the A's Royals will take on the Angels. We will have the Giants and the Pirates taking on, I believe it is the Nationals? Yeah, the Nationals. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Baltimore, Detroit, and the Dodgers against the Cardinals. So really quickly, starting with the AL wild card. Not too much analysis. Blake, Royals versus A's. Who do you see coming out in this one-game playoff?
You know what? The postseason is always about momentum. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're the first seed or if you're the last seed in the wild card. What matters the most is how you ended up playing in the final stretches of the Major League Baseball season. And what I saw from the Oakland A's in the final 2 months was just absolutely atrocious baseball. These guys were leading the AL West by above 5 games over the Angels, who were playing really well at the time as well. But the Oakland A's have just totally fallen. They got all those acquisitions over the trade deadline, such as John Lester, who's their ace. But honestly, this team just fell apart, 88-74. I see the Royals getting really amped up about playing in their first postseason game in, I believe, over 30 years. This is a team that has not reached postseason play in so long. They're so excited to be there. And they're actually one of the most underrated teams in all of Major League Baseball. I mean, you look at the staff, the pitching staff's really good, the bullpen's really good, and then batting-wise, they're led by obviously Alex Gordon, who's played pretty good, 266 average, 19 home runs and 74 RBIs, but the home environment is going to be way too much for an A's team that just really hasn't looked like they're looking forward to the postseason. With that being said, I got to go with the Kansas City Royals in the game going on Tuesday night. And then you look at the NL wildcard game, and this one's really interesting. This one's more interesting than the other game because you got San Francisco, who has some great pitchers such as Madison Bumgarner, who I believe is going to be taking the hill on Wednesday, at Pittsburgh, who Pittsburgh reached the postseason last year. This year they kind of went under the radar, and they made it to the postseason again. They're going to be hosting. Last year they won. Let's see what happens this year, but I got to go with the Giants here. I don't know. Just something about them gives me the vibe that they could be a really scary dark horse postseason team, especially with Madison Bumgarner, Pablo Sandoval, just a great pitching staff as they always do. I see them winning this game. Noah, what about you?
Well, we're going to have finally some disagreement here. I'm going to go with the A's in the wild card game. Then again, this disagreement to such a low extent, really, just a wild card matchup. But I like what the A's have. I think they're set up for a deep playoff run. They struggle, and you're right, momentum is everything. So if they can't somehow turn around momentum, it's going to be a tough playoff for them. But I think they're going to be able to do it. When it comes to the Giants against Pittsburgh, I think this matchup is so well matched. I think you've got a great Pittsburgh team led by Andrew McCutchen, of course, going out against San Francisco, Pablo Sandoval, of course, the Big Panda. That's just such an incredible group of hitters and pitchers. The Giants, of course, challenged the Dodgers for a bit before the Dodgers managed to pull away. I like Pittsburgh here. I think they get the win. and that would send them to the next round for the second straight year. The question is, can they get it done against Washington? It won't be easy. But we are going to go now to the next set of matchups. We're going to go to the matchups that we already know, which a little bit easier to predict than saying the team we think will play against the 1 seed. So we're going to start in the AL. Detroit against Baltimore. Baltimore had a pretty incredible year, actually. After kind of just going under the radar, that whole division looked pretty lackluster midway through the year. But Baltimore really stepped up. Ended up with one of the better records in baseball. Do you think that they can, eke out a win against this Detroit Tigers team that's been in the playoffs so often over the past few years? Or do you think Detroit survives?
Honestly, you look at Baltimore. They didn't reach the postseason last year, but they did reach it in 2012. They got the wild card spot that year. This is a team that, honestly, they've always been good, but it's just been too powerful. The AL East, Red Sox I don't even want to talk about how bad this season was. It was horrible. The Rays just played awful as well. And then the Yankees, I don't know what happened, and Blue Jays just totally collapsed. So Baltimore is the team that's always about third par behind the Rays or the Red Sox or the Yankees. Well, now it's finally their time to shine. 96 wins. They win the AL. Get to play at home in a really crucial series versus a Detroit team with 3 Cy Young caliber pitchers: David Price, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander. As daunting as that sounds, I'm actually going to pick Baltimore in this series. I feel like Detroit's a little tired of playing in the postseason. Although they haven't been able to get it done and win a World Series, they're a team that's in there every single year. They always win the Central. And honestly, their record 90-72, that's a little weak compared to what I would have thought preseason with how weak the AL Central turned out, despite Kansas City playing pretty well. So in this series, I'm going to go with the Orioles winning the first 2 games, the Tigers winning the next 2 games, and then Game 5 in Baltimore, Camden Yards, they get the victory to go to the ALCS. So I'm going with the Orioles there.
Okay. I want to caution the Tigers. If they send out Verlander, they will lose. Verlander has been a great postseason pitcher throughout his career. He's 31 now, and he just had a pretty bad year. And sure, all you need is one good outing. But he just hasn't shown much sign of improvement, though he did pitch well over the last 2 games, allowing 1 earned run. But you go back 5 starts ago, 6 earned runs against Cleveland. Those are the kinds of outings we've seen from Verlander this year. It's going to be tough to call. And, I was originally going to go with Detroit in this one, but I've got to agree with you. I think I like what Baltimore's got going. Nelson Cruz having an amazing year. No steroid allegations yet. Of course, we had them last year for him, but he's been terrific this year. I think Baltimore manages to edge them out. I think they win it in 4, actually. I think they managed to steal one in Detroit. But I like Baltimore this year to make it past the first round and head over to the ALCS. Now in the...
No, I just want to stay with my gut on here. Just had to say something. So, honestly, no matter who wins the series or the game between the Royals and the A's, I am feeling really good about the Angels' chances this year to make it far in the postseason. The regular season just adds to that. Not Mike Trout, arguably the best player in baseball right now. Also, Howie Kendrick, another guy, best average on the team this year, an explosive player who only had 7 home runs but had 75 RBIs. We don't know yet if Garrett Richards is going to be able to pitch, but if he is, that's going to be very dangerous. That'll set up a nice 1-2-3 punch between Jared Weaver, C.J. Wilson, and Garrett Richards. This is one of the most explosive offenses in baseball. I think they're a sure lock to go to the ALCS, no matter who they play.
You know what? I actually am going to disagree there. Here's the thing. And this isn't so much that I don't think the Angels are the best team. It's more that I picked the A's at the beginning of the year to play the not to play the Nationals in the World Series. So for that reason, I'm going to stick with my pick. Now, I do agree with you that I think the Angels are the best team in the AL right now, and they should be the favorites going into the matchup. But just for the sake of my pick, I'm going to side with the A's. But it's going to be so difficult. I mean, the Angels have been exceptional this year. It's been so impressive. Albert Pujols, his resurgence